What do you think about
what Melissa said?
What do you think about the meaning of the word sin?
What do you think about leaping off a building?
Hey, what do you think about this as a title for the movie?
What do you think about this?
What do you think I'm thinking about?
Charlie, what do you think about high school?
Ava, what do you think about Trans World Airlines?
What do you think about General Reeves?
How do you feel about...
Max, how do you feel about getting old?
How do you feel about what happened here today?
How do you feel about the future?
How do you feel about him using your life?
How do you feel about going to Hong Kong for a week?
Hey. How do you feel about soulmates?
How do you feel about Lisa?
How do you feel about holiday ties?
How do you feel about doing that nude scene?
How do you feel about making latkes?
I'd love to.
How do you feel about free love?
And how do you feel about that?
How do you feel about dogs?
From my point of view, Felix, I think that I feel perfectly capable of handling this to the best of my ability, and I hope that you feel the same way on your end.
From my point of view, from what you said, you shouldn't do that to yourself.
Thank you.
All right, from my point of view, it's about the size of Candlestick Park.
From my point of view, the Jedi are evil!
From my point of view, if there are kids out there who want to play hockey, Mr. Lumber's going to be there to support them.
From my point of view, from their point of view...
From my point of view, it's...
But from my point of view, he is in perfect health.
From my point of view, leads people to stuff like QAnon.
From my point of view, sir, was that MOVE was a group who was bent by virtue of their dogma and by their actions.
From my point of view, Randy, the scent of your hotel...
But were you seeing things from my point of view?
Well, back now from your point of view, which is back then from my point of view. Time travel.
Personally, I think you're...
Personally, I think you're playing very well.
Personally, I think you are the strongest man I've ever met.
Personally, I think we negotiated a pretty fair deal.
Personally, I think they do the trick.
Personally, I think it's hot.
Personally, I think it's better that you don't know.
Personally, I think it's a marvelous idea.
Personally, I think you should aim higher.
Personally, I think you're seeing things.
Personally, I think it's unusually sweet. And personally, I think he's right.
Personally, I think you've gone temporarily insane.
I personally think I'm very lucky.
Oh, personally, I think you're endgame.
Personally, I think your doll is cool.
Personally, I think I'm overdone. Personally, I think he is.
I'd say...
Yes, I'd say it belonged to this poor woman.
Well, I'd say we're looking at the third week of December.
Offhand, I'd say you failed.
I'd say you'd have a fine baritone voice.
I'd say you'd be absolutely right.
I'd say this is the best beer I've ever had.
I'd say they're nearly out of the game.
I'd say they can go.
I'd say that's pretty much physiologically impossible.
I'd say that's overkill.
I'd say it cost at least a couple $100.
I'd say in those days he was a muscular actor.
I'd say everybody needs to worry.
I'd say it looks good.
I'd say I'm involved.
I'd say that's a pretty good reason.
I'd say you succeeded.
I'd say that's a pretty good chance.
If you ask me.
They're all stupid if you ask me.
That's not very smart if you ask me. If you ask me, you should only be dating me.
If you ask me, this divorce could be a blessing in disguise.
Well, if you ask me, they're still there.
If you ask me, that's pretty noble.
If you ask me, I'll say yes.
But if you ask me, this isn't your car.
But if you ask me, Doug, you're the one being childish.
In my opinion.
Look, in my opinion, it can't be done.
In my opinion, you're lucky to be sitting here today.
In my opinion, you are a victim of circumstance and biology.
In my opinion, there's only one way to clear this thing up.
In my opinion, that was disgraceful.
In my opinion, it was quite unsuitable for London.
In my opinion, he might not make it that long.
In my opinion, he deserves a bloody medal.
In my opinion, the drug is ready.
In my opinion, she was the best choice.
But in my opinion, she was scuttled.
In my opinion, sir, they're gibberish. Gibberish.
The way I see it. The way I see it, you've got the perfect life.
The way I see it, you're a helpless woman, innit?
The way I see it, you have 3 choices.
The way I see it, you don't really have any choice, do you?
The way I see it, we've only just begun.
The way I see it, we're pretty much all the same.
The way I see it, we didn't have much choice.
The way I see it, they want it more than we do.
The way I see it, there's a lot of money to be made here.
The way I see it, there's 3 possibilities.
Look, the way I see it, you're probably looking at a loss of 8 figures if I don't find this guy.
So what are your views on the...
What are your views on the war? What are your views on divine matters?
What are your views on hentai manga?
So, what are your views on John Doe?
No. What is your views on gluten?
And turning to you, Mr. Captain, what are your views on violence?
What is your views on gluten?
What are your views regarding gun policy?
Work, what's your opinion?
What's your opinion on school vouchers?
What's your opinion on the whole burial issue? Because
What's your opinion on these divine matters?
What's your opinion on Shimada technology, Scott?
What's your opinion of modern art, Dr. Kinsey?
What is your opinion?
What's your opinion of these shark storms, Madam Vice President?
But tell me, you've had a chance to observe John Lumick more than most. What's your opinion?
There's a large hematoma here. Evidence of a concussion, swelling of the brain.
Oh, what's your opinion?
What's your opinion of what Book and I are doing?
well, what's your opinion about that?
What's your opinion on contact sport?